What's up guys, this is Miasin. So one thing I realized actually is that I've been making a decent amount of Blue Eyes videos as of lately, and not even that many because I still have way more to come. Don't worry about it, but I haven't made enough Cyber Dragon videos, which of course is a giant disgrace coming from me, the Cyber Dragon fan himself. So obviously it is my duty and my responsibility to show you guys what this deck can do. Every single time I get support, whether it's like direct or indirect support, I have to make an update on the deck, and I also have to make an update on every single version. So the trap heavy build, the OTK build, everything. And this one is going to be the OTK version with machine duplication, because I do believe that this card just got drastically better off of the new card from Infinite Forbidden, which is Disaster Blaster, the Negation Fortress. Anyways, before we go any further, I would really appreciate you if you could smash the like and subscribe button. It is the best way to motivate me to keep making Cyber Dragon videos until the day I die. And if this video can get 1,000 likes, I will be making some testing series on this deck. So every single week, even, I could make, testing like 20 minutes or something of Cyber Dragon destroying the meta or destroying whatever deck. But yeah, with that being said, let's get right into combo number 1. I will be showing you a bunch of combos as well as the deck profile. You already know it. Alright, so first things first, this hand is pretty obvious. I have Disaster Blaster, the Negation Fortress, the new monster. It has 500 attack and it's a machine. What a coincidence. Also a level 5 light monster. Gotta love to see it. And then we got Machine Duplication and Overload Fusion. So no Cyber Dragon monster, but we can still make it work. So first things first, this is an inherent summoning condition. There we go. That you can summon when there are no cards in a certain column. You just summon it in that column. And also it has another effect where in the pendulum scale, you can you can activate it from the hand into the pendulum scale, because obviously it's a pendulum monster. This is why it's the best card and best deck. Negates any card activated in that card's column. So that's not too bad, actually. It has the same effect in the pendulum scale as it has in the monster. None of that really matters. We only care about the fact that it has 500 attack and summon itself and is a machine dupe target. Going to be summoning 2 more. Oh, this is so interesting. I love this play. So you make a Cyber Dragon Nova into infinity, and then you absorb your own Disaster Blaster, and then you negate yourself, because destroying yourself is a good thing, because now we have the fuel for Overload Fusion, so we can banish the Nova and Infinity from the grave. So we needed to get these 2 in the grave. We could have linked these 2 off into 2 useless, into a link 2 monster that doesn't do anything. It's not a really good decision, because we might as well link off this into Seeger after that, because in order to make Seeger, we need a Cyber Dragon, and Cyber Dragon Infinity is not a Cyber Dragon. It's a Cyber Dragon monster, but not a Cyber Dragon. So that way, we can make a Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon, and then send the Hertz and the Core, recycle back the Core, and the normal summon, get a search for anything. Could be Cyber Load Fusion or whatever. And then we're gonna be making the Seeger, and this is 12,600 damage, which is pretty nice. It's almost OTK through Prosperity. That would be 6,300 damage under Prosperity. So yeah, not too bad what you can do with a pretty mediocre hand. Now, what happens if you're trying to go first, for example? Alright, so in this hand, I have Cyber Dragon Core as well as Machine Duplication. So this is obviously the good old combo that is extremely disgusting. And it just got even nastier, especially off of the new support from Infinite Forbidden, like I said. So at this point, you probably remember people were making Infinity, and then they were linking off into Nightmare Mermaid, Phoenix, whatever. Phoenix into Mermaid, so they would go into the Orcus combo. And now there's pretty much the same thing that you can do, but with way less bricks, and only 1 brick, but 4 cards in your extra deck. And it is the Fiendsmith combo, which you obviously really love and enjoy as a non-Fiendsmith player. I'm obviously sarcastic, everybody hates that package, but yeah, anyways, Moon of the Close Sky into Requiem, summon the Fiendsmith, and then link off into, basically link off into Necrocore Princess, and then you can make a Seeger, so that is a Caesar, Jesus, there was Seeger and Caesar, and that is for interruptions, because that can negate 2 cards that would try to special summon a monster, that is an Omni Negate, and Overflow can destroy a bunch of cards in the on the field, because there's Core and Cyber Dragon in the grave. And even if your opponent destroys everything, you have a follow-up, because you can banish the Core to summon the Nexture, which revives back the Infinity, so that you can absorb a monster and then negate. It's not too bad, so yeah, especially if your opponent goes like Activate Lightning Storm or Duster, then you chain the Overflow, and the Overflow also searches, so that gets you an even better follow-up, which of course is absolutely gorgeous. But anyways, let's get into combo number 3 now. Alright, so again, everybody knows how to OTK, but how can you make some juicy and disgusting boards when you go first? Well, the answer is, first of all, try to draw the nuts, and second of all, try to draw the nuts. So yeah, my hand has Galaxy Soldier, Hertz, Core, Regulus, and Machine Dupe. It can't get any better than that. Yeah, I mean, it can if my hand was like Core, Machine Dupe, and 3 traps, but whatever, it is what it is. The Hertz is going to be searching the Cyber Dragon. Obviously, it's not like there's any other options. We need a Cyber Dragon that's always treated as Cyber Dragon, even in the deck. That would be so freaking broken. That actually does something, because this card... Bro, I swear to God, it really just feels like Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's just like you play it for its name, but not really for its effect. Doesn't really have an effect. It's just a summoning condition. Anyways, now we can make a Nova and then revive back the Cyber... Well, anything, really. Could be the Hertz even. And we're going to be making an Infinity now on summon number 5, so Nibiru doesn't do anything. Normal summon Core, gets the Overflow, and then Machine Dupe, summon 2 Cyber Dragons, and then we're going to be linking off 2 of them into Moon of the Close Sky, and then Requiem, summon the Fiendsmith. We really want to keep this Core on the field. It actually does something. But yeah, Fiendsmith into Necroquip, and then revive back the Fiendsmith, and then make the Caesar. And then this is where it's going to be really interesting. So Regulus, summon itself, get to the Cyber Dragon in the Spell and Trap Zone. And then we're going to be contact fusing using the Cyber Dragon in the Monster Zone and in the Spell and Trap Zone in order to make Chimeritek Fortress Dragon. It's a level 8 Dark monster. And we have a level 2 Light monster. So we can make Chaos Angel, which is made with a Light and Dark. So all of our monsters are indestructible by battle. And then this is unaffected by your opponent's activated monster effects. This can negate twice, this can negate once, this can negate once, and the Overflow can destroy a bunch of cards. 5 interruptions, and a Chaos Angel. Alright, so for the deck profile now, yes, I know the combos were very fast. I mean, it's Cyber Dragon. It's not like I'm gonna be comboing off for 15 minutes and then make an unbreakable board. Although I could if I really want to go that way. But I don't really recommend it because this deck is not really a combo deck or anything. It's more of like either an OTK deck or a kind of control deck if you want to contact fuse and set a bunch of back row. I mean, that's what I did at YCS Niagara 2019. Anyways, this is, like I said, a machine duplication deck. So we have a bunch of targets and obviously 3 machine dupe because this is kind of like the heart and soul of this deck strategy. So yeah, 3 of that and then 3 core, no shit, 3 emergency. These are the 2 best cards in the deck. You really need to see core if you want to have a chance to win, otherwise you're basically playing from behind. Double Hertz and 1 Nexter. I don't understand people who play 3 Nexter. Like, you're really trying to break as much as possible. This card seriously sucks. I mean, it's good for its utility, but it's terrible to draw. It's just not really good. It's way better to summon from the deck off of core or just to search when you really, really need it, but usually it's just way too expensive. And you don't have the resources to just play with like a full monster hand, unless your hand is like very specifically just 5 different monster cards, which is rarely gonna come up, or I guess 6 if you're going second. But yeah, this is way more than enough as a 1-of because it's also recyclable from the graveyard off of Hertz, so there is really no argument to playing more than 1. And then the Hertz is just another normal summon as well, but more often than not, it's just gonna be the discard fodder for Galaxy Soldier or Droplet. So you're, again, not trying to play a lot of redundant cards, because core is the main normal summon. These 2 cards, they don't really do much of anything on their own, really, other than turn on Machine Duplication. But the thing is, Machine Dupe got drastically better off of this new card right here, which is, again, not really played for its effect either, even though its effect can come in handy every now and then. It's really just because of the fact that it summons itself and it turns on Machine Dupe. So yeah, we've got 12 ways of making Machine Dupe live. So yeah, 3, 6, 9, there we go, yeah, exactly. Yeah, alright, now we got 2 Galaxy Soldier, 3 Cyber Dragon, as well as the Repair Plant. If there's Galaxy Soldier in your deck list, there's also Cyber Repair Plant, because that's the only way to search it. Well, we are going to be getting a new card in Rage of the Abyss, which is the Dragaluxion. It's this card right here, hold on a second. This is a rank 8 monster that when it's special summoned from the extra deck, you get to search your deck for any Galaxy or Tachyon card. And you can also detach 2 materials to summon a rank 8 Dragon Xyz monster with 3000 attack from your extra deck by using this card as material. So in other words, what you can do is that you can play a rank 8 turbo deck, like play the Horus Engine, or just use Chimeritek Fortress Dragon, or like Chaos Dragon Levian or whatever, or Gear Spring Spirit even, and then you summon this, and then you search Galaxy Soldier, and then you summon the Harbinger on top, which can randomly allow you to make like Harbinger plus Infinity and some nice monsters on the board. I made a combo video on that already, so it's nothing like super new. But yeah, it's something that will exist in the future that will allow you to potentially remove Repair Plant from your deck list. Because this card, it's not a starter at all, it's not a consistency card. It can only be played when you're already playing the game, which I seriously dislike. We really need like more support from Konami that allows us to just get our engine started without having to necessarily rely on Core and Hertz. Core and Emergency, because everything else doesn't really do anything really to get your play started. Anyways, Overload Fusion, pretty good card. It's not it's not super searchable, but it's a little better in terms of effect than Cyberload, because it uses the resources from the grave. Cyberload is really good when you're playing like a trap heavy build, so that Overflow just banishes your cards, and then you use Cyberload to like put them back into the deck gives you like a really good grind game, and then you can destroy spells and traps using Rampage, and then you can kill. But in an OTK version, Overload is just a little better, and this card can still be searched off of Triple Tactic Thrust. So everything is just glued together. It makes sense in this version. Change of Heart, speaking of the Devil, because Thrust can search it. Well, same thing with Triple Tactic Talent, Thrust can search it. Call by the Grave has nothing to do here, but might as well. I'm not playing hand traps, so there is really just no conflicting. If I Call by the Grave my opponent's hand trap, it's not gonna hurt me because I don't play those hand traps myself. Lightning Storm and Duster, because trap decks are a huge issue for this deck. As a matter of fact, you have a much better time against combo decks, even though even that can be rough, than trap decks. Trap decks are just terrible, honestly. Floodgates are bad, but Rivalry goes in, you don't care too much about them, especially Rivalry, because goes in match can still hurt you because you won't be able to make Rampage if you have a bunch of light monsters on the field. But Rivalry, honestly, I don't really see where it hurts me. I can absolutely live without a bunch of the cards in my extra deck. So yeah, anyways, Clockwork Knight, this is Exodia, the absolute god card, and this is also a win condition against not only the Fiendsmith engine, but also Flunderies, Dragon Link. I mean, just any deck that really requires like some of the monsters on the field to just be a certain type. Even against Tenpai Dragon, this is very good. But unfortunately, they can out it with Quibelt, but it's still gonna be hard because when you have Clockwork Knight on the field, they can't summon Chandra from the hand, so they have to waste like resources in order to play differently, and yeah, this card can really save your life. It's honestly fantastic. Not to mention that if you are playing Clockwork Knight yourself, you can also play Rivalry, and that's pretty much like the Zombie World Rivalry log that people were doing in the zombie deck, or, you know, the Stealth Kraken goes in match combo that people were doing in like Marincess or Shark and everything. You can pretty much do the same thing in Cyber Dragon, but it's obviously way less consistent now that Rivalry is just a one-of, unfortunately. So if you're forced to go first, there are still some decent options. And yeah, like I said, Droplet, Emergency, and Mind Control, this is the last flex spot in the deck. You could also replace this with pretty much anything else of your choosing. I just think that monster stealing cards are a little better than most board breakers in this deck, just because if you're going second against, let's say, a board of Appaloosa, what you do is you go Mind Control, steal the Apple, and then you can start negating the other cards that are really problematic to you. So like the IP into SP, you can start negating that. But the issue is Fiendsmith DSE Ray. That can negate stuff. That's the reason why Droplet is a necessity. And you can't play Dark Ruler in this deck, because if you use it, then you can't deal damage for the rest of the turn, which defeats the purpose of playing an OTK deck. Same thing with Evenly. If you evenly your opponent, you can't kill your opponent, because obviously you're then in main phase 2. A little inconvenient. That's the reason why Droplet, Lightning Storm, Duster, all those cards, they're just a little safer, because you can use them and then still kill your opponent. So you can capitalize off of your board breakers and not really care about your opponent's follow-up, so that's less of an issue. But yeah, 40 card main deck, you absolutely should never, ever go over 40, because then you're gonna start breaking. You really need to minimize the amount of cards in your deck so that you always see Core and Emergency. But you also shouldn't play Prosperity, because then you can't OTK your opponent. And the extra deck, honestly, there's a lot of like really important cards, so it's also not gonna work super well. It could work post game 1 if you know for a fact that you're going first, or you might be going first, so that you can dig into those powerful cards that will allow you to survive for until your next turn. Anyways, for the extra deck, 1 Rampage, 1 Mega Fleet. This could be bumped up to 2 depending on how the meta shapes up. Double Fortress, because Clockwork Knight makes this card very easy to summon, even if your opponent has 0 machine monsters. But sometimes you want to Fortress using your own monsters, just so that you can get a level 8 Dark, and you can use that level 8 Dark with the level 2 Light that is Core in order to make Chaos Angel, which is again one of the ways that you can survive against this Fiendsmith deck, because other than Infinite Impermanence, they have essentially no outs to Chaos Angel. It's gonna take a while for them to get rid of this card. Access Code can't jump over it because it can't be destroyed by battle, and they also can't affect it by monster effects, and nobody plays Underworld Goddess, so their engine will pretty much never be able to beat this card. Anyways, Dingirsu, which is another card that you can summon using the Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, really good, and if you play more level 8 extenders, that could also come up. Infinity Nova, Seeger, SP Little Knight, if you are using, let's say, the Almirage and the monster that you revive back off of Nova, that's like 2 monsters, so even going first, you can end on Infinity SP, which is not too bad. Or you can just play the Fiendsmith package, which is 4 cards. But if you don't want to play the Fiendsmith package, you can play these 4 cards instead. So Puzzlomino, it can get you easier access to Cyber Dragon Infinity. Lina the Light Charmer, very good. You can crash it and then search a light monster from your deck with 1500 or less defense. And Core just happens to have exactly 1500 defense. So this is a way you can turn random bad hands into playable hands. Relinquished Anima, obviously always good when you play cards like Hertz and Nexter. And finally Typhon, which whatever. I don't know if this is necessarily going to come up in this deck, but it's a going second deck, so maybe Typhon could come up. But yeah, nothing forces you to play the Fiendsmith engine, so I hope you're watching this video until the end and not saying, oh my god, another Fiendsmith deck. No, because as a matter of fact, I'm not even playing the one of Fiendsmith, and you shouldn't play a big package either. If you are playing the Fiendsmith in your deck, it should only be one Fiendsmith monster, nothing else. And if you are playing it, then you might as well just side it instead, and also side it with like Cyber Rev system so that you can go normal summon core, search the Rev system, and then link off into El Mirage, activate it, revive, and then go into Moon of the Closed Sky. It's again the exact same dynamic as back in the days. Cyber Dragon Orchis is just a little less explosive because all you do is one rank 6 monster, which is still good, but it's not as insane. And then we've got, of course, Overflow for going first, the Regulus that you can search off of Clockwork Knight. I'm not trying to main deck this card because I think more often than not, it just doesn't do anything in my hand. It almost feels like a brick very often, and it's not that much of a necessity going second, although it's still a good card overall. There's like no real drawback to playing it, so if you want to play the Regulus, you can, because you're gonna search it with Clockwork Knight anyway, so it's a 1-of that ends up being a 4-of when you need it. The Cyberload Fusion, which I think more often than not is a brick, even though it's an extremely good card, I think because of the fact that we play Thrust into Overload, I just don't think you need Cyberload in this very specific build. But overall, Cyberload is still a great card. And then the 4 extra deck monsters that I recommended. This is another TCG... Jesus, I almost died. TCG exclusive from Infinite Forbidden. It's Koshobo Hinamatsuri. It's a little sus though. It's an extender that you can use to make Infinity, but then you're locked under Xyz only, so all you're really doing is Infinity and nothing else. But you're really trying to like diversify your options in this deck, so that's... Yeah, this card's just dog shit. And then yeah, evenly, if you don't really care about killing your opponent, but I really love killing people. I know words taken out of context. Oh my god, yak sign. But yeah, anyways, finally we play Cyber Dragon Fear for no good reason. Actually, would have been better if this card decreased the attack of your monsters instead of increasing it. I swear on my life, Cyber Dragon would have been a better card if it just had 1600 less attack. I swear, I'm not making this up. You don't even want this card to have 2100 attack, you want it to have 500 or less attack. Yeah, we can't have everything. And then yeah, finally Pankratops and Fenrir. Fenrir is both good going first and second. Pankratops only good going second. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And let me know how you feel about Cyber Dragon in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys very soon. Peace.